Hey, this is Justin. Thank you for downloading and listening to the J&J Talk Show. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen or favor our show on Spotify apps or Facebook. You can also listen live on the J&J Talk Show.
Staring at the ceiling, making friends with shadows on my wall. All night, hearing voices.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the J&J Talk Show. I'm Justin. How you guys doing today? Happy Tuesday morning, wherever you guys listening from.
Feeling like I'm headed for a breakdown, and I don't know why. But I'm not crazy, I'm just a little unwell. I know right now.
And I got a very impactful show for you today, and let's get underway. I got a lot of things going on here. I thought that the show back on Sunday went well. Our very first guest, very first interview with Jacob Hunter, I think went well. We're gonna address that first and foremost, but let me start off with you. I got a very impactful hour. It's gonna be impact here. Okay. I want to start off with some of our promotions. Okay. In order to produce the show, in order to have the show up and running, I got to go ahead and give a shout out and quick thanks to StreamYard. Okay. StreamYard is the studio, home of the J&J Talk Show. If you're looking to create your own podcast, YouTube videos for your, or even looking for your virtual business meetings or in videos, StreamYard is the place to go. Head on over to StreamYard.com and start making your dreams a reality. I also want to give a quick shout out to Placeit. You create your mock-ups, logos, videos through Placeit. The J&J Talk Show is proud to be using Placeit to create all of their logos and promotional videos. Placeit is by Envato. Head on over to placeit.net and start your free trial. Also, Epidemic Sound. Yes, you heard that correctly. Epidemic Sound. Discover your world-class artists, composers, and bands. Find your perfect soundtrack and give your social accounts the music they deserve. Epidemic Sounds is licensed music and noise effects. Link. Check out Epidemic Sound for more information. And I also want to give a quick shout out to our merchandise page. Okay, is through Stream Elements. With one click of a button, easily create and start selling your merchandise through Stream Elements. It's that simple. Stream Elements gives you a platform with a handful of objects to sell. Simply upload and create what you want to sell and allow Stream Elements to do the rest. They create your store, they create your merchandise, and they deliver your merchandise and give you your profit. Stream Elements make merchandise simple to sell. Head on over to streamelements.com for more information. All right. We got that out of the way and I got to get that out of the way. I got a very impactful hour for you to this morning, wherever you guys are listening from, whether it's from YouTube. Okay. If you're tuning in live or if you're checking this video out later through YouTube, thank you. Don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Okay, you could also be checking us out on Facebook. Okay, and then if you're on the road or if you're at work and you have Spotify, you could also check us out on Spotify. So we got 3 platforms. There's no reason why you guys can't be watching us, checking us out. Okay. Social media platforms, if you want to get into contact and talk with us and join with all the fun. Facebook at the JJ Talk Show, Instagram, and TikTok. I was just talking to Trey yesterday, and we now have ourselves a Twitter account. So if you want to chat us up, comment on a post, comment on anything that's going on, head on over to one of those social media platforms and hook us up that way. All right. I got an impactful show for you today. I was going to come in. I was putting the show together actually Sunday night. I was up late Sunday night, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get the show ready so I could have Monday off. I could enjoy myself, enjoy some football, and get right into the show. And then I was actually, I was doing okay. Kind of woke up on the downside. Was up all day yesterday, and about an hour getting into work, I get a text message that didn't necessarily put me in a good mood. Okay, so we're gonna start off with that. So and I don't know. Okay, I got a lot of things I want to talk about, but this is more important. And I was talking to Trey, and I was like, dude, we got to address this because we are humbled. Our show is humbled. Our show has a lot of respect and nothing but the great intentions. So I don't know how long this is going to take. I didn't script this out. I didn't plan this. This came up yesterday. And I just want to address it, okay, on behalf of the J&J Talk Show. So, the J&J Talk Show has been going on for a couple months now. And if you miss any video, you could go back and rewatch them. And we talk a lot about sports. We talk about baseball. We talk about football. We talk about wrestling. And what I notice that becomes an issue, or we haven't at least established a smooth transition into segments per segment. And that has led us to, over time, get off topic, extend segments out longer than probably what it needs to be. And then there's no function or system and set for how our shows to be run. And so as we start to try to build our channel and to expand ourselves and to have other people look at us and tune into us, we have to control that. Okay, just think about if you're listening to a local radio station, if you listen to Sports Center on ESPN, they have breaks, not just because it's what they need to have, they need to play ads in between the show. But those are designed to split up segments. Okay, maybe one segment you're talking about the NFL, the next segment you're going to talk about baseball, and the third segment you talk about football or about wrestling. It doesn't matter. So the J&J Talk Show has tried to come up with ideas. And so we implement now a little break. A minute, maybe some breaks are 30 seconds, some breaks are 2 to 3 minutes. The design for the breaks are to do 2 things. One, shorten our segments up so that we could have ourselves more segments. We could move along the conversation. We don't have to fill everything in one episode. We could get back to it the next episode if we think that is still something to talk about. And 2, it gives us a break in the action as well. So it gives us a time to reset, recapture ourselves, and get ready for another segment. So over this past week, we just started implementing what we call a little break in between the action. And the one thing that I thought, so besides sitting here and having that 30 to 2 minute dull moment where there's nothing, there's no sound, there's no talk about whatever's going on. Instead of having dead silence, I was trying to create a a little entertainment that for the viewing pleasure of for the show. And let's be honest, the J&J talk show over the last 2.5 months, they are still working out kinks. We told you from the beginning this is going to take time. We're going to find our rhythm, our place, and we're going to make it, it's going to take time to do it. I mean, that's just given. And this is one of the kinks we're trying to figure out. And I thought, and at least I thought, that what would be a better way to promote or to have our little breaks in between the action as upcoming trailers that people enjoy watching that has to do with our channel. We talk about professional wrestling, and there's a lot of wrestling going on. You look at WWE, you look at, WrestleMania's add up, the WWE 2K games is up, the the Survivor Series ads coming up, tribute to the troops up. And then, that's just on the wrestling platform. And then I'm also, expanding ourselves. And, if you watch live or got a chance to watch any of our previous episodes, you will see that it's there to entertain you while we stepped away. It fills in that dead silence. And, learning all this for the first time, testing the waters, testing the boundaries, not intentionally, but we sit there and we, we're trying new things, and apparently we're wrong. And it is probably one of the most difficult things to do, to come on the air and admit when you're in the wrong. But if you guys have been tuning in and trying to check out our last couple episodes, I got a text at work yesterday from Trey. He's like, "Man, you've been copyrighted from WWE." And you kind of put me in a panic for a moment because I never been through this before. And I could only, in understanding the logistics of it, I understand. I'm not going to argue. I'm not trying to sit here and compel my argument here. There's no argument. All I'm trying to do is, during the breaks of our shows, implement something that the people could watch. And we were wanting to put these little breaks in and these little videos in as a non-profitable promotion to the relations of the talk show that we have. I mean, we're talking an hour and a half about wrestling to throw in, a couple of community promotions in between there during our breaks. I thought would be just a fun, cool way. And like I said, I'm learning all this for the first time. The J&J talk show is learning all this for the first time. And we come into one of our first issues of what's going on. And that is obviously the trailers that you guys see. So on behalf of the J&J talk show, okay, it is only right that we sit here, okay, and I do really mean this. This is coming from deep and down inside. We do apologize to the WWE and to anyone else in that matter that we played their trailers to lead into a copyright situation. We sit here and we talk about these topics. It's great. We're not taking credit for any of these videos that we're playing. We're not trying to take anybody's ideas. I don't know if you listened to us previously. I like to do my best to give credit where credit's due. There's a reason why I always mention the Busted Open podcast. There's a reason why I always mention Coach John Quintero show, or the show coming out of San Diego, because as I'm developing myself and as we develop this channel, one of the ways that help us to go through is by listening to other podcasts and radio subscriptions. And I'm a huge fan, and I don't want to sit here and put these shows out there in a negative way. I don't want Dave LaGreca to come view our show and say, "Why are you talking about our show?" Nothing negative. I'm a huge fan of your show. I listen to your show all the time, and listening to you guys, everyone's shows helps me. Because I'm at work, I don't have all the time in the world to sit down and break down everything and create our own news feed. So I get bits and pieces of upcoming news and what there is to be talked about. And I mix that with what I know, with what I'm, being feed fed in. And we create our show this way. Also, like I said, if I listen to one of the shows and they relate to an idea and I like the idea, I like to give credit where credit's due. I'm not taking any credit for anyone's, words, their thoughts, their opinions. I create my own opinions on top of that. If they made sense and it's worthy enough to be on the show, then I give them credit where credit's due. Same thing to those videos. Take no credit to promoting those videos. Is simply just an advertisement for what we produce. So we will go ahead and continue. We're not going to continue. We're going to make a change. And you guys will see this in the upcoming, and we're going to make it better. We're going to continue making changes until we can make it better. And it's going to take time. Until I tell you that, please be patient, because it will be taking time. So if you see, so right now, I think our when our first coming up break, we're going to come into, music and then followed by a short clip. And all I ask you guys to do is, bear with us. We will come up with promotional stuff that are going on with our show. But we do apologize for anything that we have, have the term is copyright issues. We have no intentions in wanting to copyright anything. We're not taking any credit for any of that. So we do apologize. I want to give a quick shout out to YouTube, mainly because I've been emailing them back and forth all day yesterday, and they have worked with us, and I really appreciate what they've done for us, not to not affect or hurt the channel. So with that being said, we do apologize. One thing I want to claim and say is that coming up, I'm downloading some video editing software, because Sunday was a really good episode. It was a really good interview with Jake. So I'm working on editing out those issues in the commercial breaks. And once I get done editing those, and it's going to probably take a couple of days, so by the end of the week, hopefully, I should have those videos that were taken down back up in a different condensed form for you guys to view. Okay. I thought, listen, like I said, this is not scripted. This is all coming out, with the bottom of our hearts here, with the best intention. Now, it's probably the wrong to say this here. Listen, if you guys will like us to promote or to play videos, feel free to reach out to us anytime. Be more than happy to promote anybody in a non-profitable or situation. I'll be happy to promote anything that is given our way. So that is that. And we're going to move forward. And the only way to move forward, I got a big, we're going to move forward with the show. I got a big show for you. we do got to step away because I want to regroup and regather myself. So I will step away and we will come back in just a few minutes. You're listening to the J&J Talk Show.
In my mouth is a desert, running dry on the tip of my tongue. I can taste your lies, how to measure the love you throw around. I could never hold you down. One of us will have to take a bow. Feeling you so close to make me try around.
Welcome back here on the J&J Talk Show. Thank you for tuning in wherever you guys are listening to us from, whether it is YouTube, Facebook, or Spotify. I thank you. Also like to take this time to promote TC's Barbecue. TC's Barbecue is back for local Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky residents only. TC Barbecue is the home of slow smoked, mouth-watering, and made to perfection barbecue. Whole and half rack ribs of half rack of beef ribs and pork baby back ribs are available on November 24th, the day before Thanksgiving. That's right, you guys. If you're interested in enjoying some smoking ribs this Thanksgiving, reach out to Travis Chappelle on Facebook or check out Chappelle Travis on Instagram. Limited time orders only, so order now. So we got some new ways. Like I said, these little breaks and commercials are going to continue to be changed and developed, hopefully to enjoyment here. So I got a big show for you today. I know I had to cut that out of the way with, okay, and hopefully we're gonna make our show better. All right. I got baseball coming up here in a little bit. We're gonna break down football here. There was a lot of upsets throughout this week of football. I want to cover some of those games, kind of give you a preview into NFL. Also, our main episode here is the MLB offseason. Okay, who's making that splash in the offseason this year? It's the race on to win the offseason, okay? And especially since and there's already been some huge trades, some huge deals, a lot of free agencies, and with MLB and that CBA stoppage coming up December 2nd. It looks like baseball is going to be stopped. It looks like it looks like, man. I mean, I know the GM meetings are taking place in Carlsbad right now throughout this week. There could be some trades, but you think about it: the MLB, the baseball organization has to come to an agreement, and there's going to be a lot of stuff that we'll get more into this. There's going to be a lot of stuff that they're going to have to come agree upon, and the question is can they get that done by November 2nd? Clock is ticking. And what does that mean? Is that there's a lot of stuff that's going to be stopped if they can't come to that agreement, like free agency, possibly the risk of starting the season on time. So there's a lot going on there. We'll cover that here in our program, and kind of who's already making that big splash. I could already tell you one name that I'm very happy that's making a huge splash. But this is the first step to the 2022 season. Before we do that, I want to give a quick shout out and invite you over to our merchandise page. Okay. Head on over to merch.streamelements.com/JJ Talk Show and wear your favorite fan gear now. Can't promote that enough. We have our fan gears. Okay. It's t-shirts, hoodies, jackets, blankets galore. I'm still putting up more stuff on the website. Okay. But head on over. Like I said, it's made simple. It's by Stream Elements. Okay. All I do is click up, put up my logo on what I want them, to promote and add for the store. They'll publish the store for me. They gave me the domain. And they sit there and then they cut out the middleman, or they are the middleman on that factor. They take my items, okay? They take those logos, they put up on the store. You go to the webpage, you post, you buy your stuff. You buy your favorite fan guy, whether it's a T-shirt for the holidays. I mean, holiday season's coming around. Don't you want to buy a shirt for that says the J&J Talk Show and wear it proudly? Right? So head on over there, buy your stuff, okay? And then they take care of the rest. They'll send it right to your house. I don't have to do much of anything. So easy work made done for me in that factor. So, yeah, listen, a lot of stuff going on in the first half an hour. I apologize. This is going to probably affect how the rest of the show is going to take place here. But you know what? I needed to address that. Hopefully things are cleared up, and moving forward, we will make better progress. All right, we got Thursday night. We got NFL this past week, and I know I talked a little bit on the show back on Sunday. I will, like I said, we will work on getting those things edited and put up. But let's get right into it. I came home last night, enough time to watch some Monday Night Football, and I really wasn't that impressed with the Bears and the Steelers, the match card. But it was with Sunday Night Football left. For me, the highlight is Justin Field is making his debut. Is making his rookie season run. And what I mean by that is that you got Justin Field, who's already faced an Aaron Rodgers. He's already faced a Tom Brady. And now he's facing a Ben Roethlisberger. All right, quarterback versus quarterback. And for me, I mean, that is something that, throughout the season, he's going to be facing veteran quarterbacks, trying to get, see where he stands along the line. And I came in, when I tuned on the game, when I got home last night, it was probably about 3 minutes left. The Bears were down 26-20. They find a way and they come up and they pick up a victory. Or they didn't pick up a victory. I'm sorry. They find a way to run down the field to score a touchdown. The problem that they had was that they left a minute and 45 seconds left on the clock, allowing Pittsburgh to come down, run down the clock, and kick a game-winning field goal. It was 29-27 final score. A very well entertaining game. In the first thing that I saw, something I haven't saw in a while, and I got to give a shout out to our good friend Jacob because he's a Steelers fan, is that this was the first time that I saw the Big Ben go and do what Big Ben does best, and that is run the ball back down the field and set the team up to win. Let's face it. Ben Roethlisberger doesn't have it's not the same player he was 5 years ago. He's lost a little bit of arm. He's a little bit difficult in the pocket now. And from a quarterback who used to be able to get out of the pocket and scramble a little bit, he doesn't do it. So obviously you could tell that father time is catching up with him. But last night I saw a very impressive victory by the Steelers. And talking about the Steelers, we're gonna get right into the North, AFC North, and a game on Sunday because Baltimore beat Minnesota 34-31 in overtime. But a game on Sunday was probably one of the bigger games in the first half of the game selections. You had Cincinnati hosting Cleveland, and Cincinnati's about to go on their bye week this week, and a lot of the questions were coming out of Cleveland, right? It was more on, with all the hype last week with Odell Beckham Jr. coming down to his release, and boy, I tell you, they did not skip a beat with him. As a matter of fact, it looked like they were a better team without Odell Beckham. And that is just one of the things that, and for Cleveland, I think that's a good spot. But what this has done is that this has opened up that battle range for that NFC North. I know at the beginning of the season, we talked about, what divisions to look out for, what divisions were going to make an impact. And I tell you that, when I told you that the NFC North is one of the teams, was all going to depend how Cincinnati played. Now they've had a decent first half of the season. I tell you that. They're not that terrible. But it's, this is still such a young team, such a young franchise out of the North here for the Bengals, that I question, I heard this earlier last week and it made sense. Now the real season starts. You're at the back end of the season. Now the real season starts, and especially for the Bengals. If you could last and have a better record in the second half of the season, then your contingency spot for a postseason is golden. So, but as we sit this week, I mean, I know Cincinnati sits in the last place, but they still have just as good of a chance, just as any other team in that division, and especially with how Pittsburgh and Cleveland's come back to contend in the division. I mean, I think the only concern is that they're sitting at, all the teams are sitting around 500. So it's been very well mixed diversity. And then also the North. I want to bring up the North, the AFC North in this matter. We'll look into this. Hold on one second. Denver beats the Cowboys 30-16. A very shocking fashion there. They haven't won a game since week 3. The Vegas Raiders lose to the Giants. First loss without John Gruden. The Chargers they play sloppy, but they did pick up a victory over the Eagles by a field goal. And I don't know how much this has to do without Aaron Rodgers, but Kansas City finds a way to pick up a victory. And I knew that. I knew without Aaron Rodgers, the Chiefs were going to beat the Packers. I don't know. I'm not degrading how Jordan Love, he performed. I don't think he performed that terrible. But this was a lot riding on the Chiefs game. And I mean, it wasn't like they won in fashion. They barely picked up the victory. And a matter of fact, if Aaron Rodgers were playing or Jordan Love had a better game, just a little bit better, they actually would have won the game. But this tells you right now, I mean, that NFC West is also looking dangerous. I mean, the Raiders just lost, Chargers won, so you got those teams coming up. Is Denver back to stay? I mean, they picked up a very impressive victory over Dallas, although it doesn't look like Dallas even showed up to Sunday's game at AT&T Stadium. But there was a lot of things going on, a lot of upsets. The game of the week, the Packers and Chiefs. And it just didn't look like, this was a sloppy game. I didn't like the game. It, didn't really persuade me. On the other hand, but there was a lot, and we talk about some of the games that did come down. I mean, just taking a look at the overall football, Sunday the Ravens won 34-31, New England Patriots. And here's the thing, because you talk about another sloppy game. Buffalo loses to Jacksonville 6-9. Such a terrible game. And we thought that maybe, coming off of a bye week after losing to Tennessee, they would get themselves back in check. Well, you know what? I'll tell you this. Um, you know, I think a lot of people made history. I'll joke about it just a little bit briefly here. Josh Allen sacks Josh Allen. How often do you get that? I get that. I'm listening to it. I laugh about it. It is funny to think about that, but um, nonetheless, here, Buffalo has come down. I mean, New England has making some surprise victories. They picked up some very impressive victories over the last couple of weeks, destroying the Jets a couple weeks ago, beating the Chargers, and then they take care of business against Carolina. And look where you look at halfway through the season, and they're contending. I mean, I know Buffalo was probably one of the Super Bowl contending teams that you looked at this year, with the Chiefs. And obviously the Chiefs haven't been playing the way that they wanted to be playing. But you got the Patriots, who I really thought, after losing Cam Newton, I really thought Cam Newton was going to be the only logistic chance that the Patriots had at any postseason run. Well, you know what? I tell you, what they're doing in New England is phenomenal, and doing it without Tom Brady. Now, listen, the season's not over yet. I don't know if New England has what it takes to win the division, but they play their way. Though, if they're continuing to play the way they play, you see them in a wild card opportunity, especially with how all the other divisions are going about. Buffalo, I don't know. I'm not selling off on them quite yet. Okay, I'm not. I know that they've had a couple weeks down in the dumps, but but I really think that they kind of start picking it back up. Especially, I mean, I guess my biggest question is, out of the AFC, who is going to be who's the team that you look to be in the postseason? I mean, Kansas City is not playing. It's not the same Kansas City team like it was a couple years ago. Obviously, they downhilled a little bit. I mean, does Buffalo really stand a chance? Do you really see them in the postseason run, or do you see maybe the Raiders or the Chargers? I mean, we talk about the Super Bowl this year is going to be in SoFi Stadium. Chargers and Rams, wouldn't that be something to talk about? A very impressive moment. I know. I mean, I know Tennessee's has had a very impressive season so far. They beat the Rams back on Sunday, 28-16. But are you really bought into them quite yet? I know that they have probably one of the better records of them all, but I mean, I don't see them as a Super Bowl contending team quite yet. So that's going to be questions coming up here later on in the next couple of weeks to start asking, because, the season, listen, Thanksgiving comes, we get to Thursday, the big Thanksgiving showdowns, and the race to the playoffs officially begins, and it begins through that. So, a lot of things. And then here's my thing, okay, so I'm going to leave this off here before we step out. The Rams go out and they pick up Von Miller. They have this wonderful, unstoppable defense. Did their loss Sunday? Okay, because Arizona recaptured themselves without Kyler Murray. You know what? One thing I want to tell you on Arizona, the Cardinals really look like a complete team. When you could win without your starting quarterback, that's a complete team. And for me, that's a complete team, for the most part. And so, if you're the Rams and you are, like, how did you lose to Tennessee? And so I guess my question here, I think the question is here, I don't want to count the Rams. I'm a big Rams fan. But did they lose one of the biggest opportunities at contending in the postseason? Now, the fact that you lost, Arizona won, so now you created that separation in the NFC West. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's not. But I mean, I know the Rams bought out. They picked up Von Miller. They don't got nothing coming up in draft picks the next couple of years. It's all or nothing. They're really invested. They think that they could win, and I think so too. But it doesn't happen by losing to Tennessee. So, uh, we got a lot of football coming up on Thursday with a next NFL Week 10 preview. So tune into that as well. Let's step aside. I want to come back and talk about baseball, MLB offseason, the race to the offseason. Who's going to win the offseason, plus the CBA MLB stoppage possibly coming up here at the end of November. This is Justin. This is the J&J Talk Show. Welcome back here on another episode of the J&J Talk Show, wherever you're listening from, YouTube, Facebook, or Spotify. We thank you and welcome into the studio. A lot of stuff going on here in the world of sports. We're trying to clean up some of the things that are going on around in our channel. Like I said, we got our show is going to be reposted back up after they go through an editing system. So stay tuned later on this week. We will get our shows back up and running. Also, tune in Thursday. We got an NFL weekly review, week number 10, coming up in the NFL. That's coming your way. We also got weekly sports, the weekend preview coming up this Friday morning, followed by the NFL, followed by the J&J Talk Show this Sunday. And I know Trey is working extremely hard. We also got a Twitter account as well. We're covering across the social media platform. Wherever you guys want to start interacting with us, to get involved, head on over to our social media platforms and start talking with us. You know, I want to hear about some of the things that are going on. MLB offseason. is I've been putting this on the back burner. I've been putting, listen, the Braves won the World Series last week. Um, and it did not take long because players or organizations are making impacts and improvements to their, roster and their staff members before the end of the World Series. So the question is who's going to, and usually, so the rule of thumb, and something I heard about this quite often was that you weren't going that Rob Manfred did not allow any news to be broke on the day on day game on games on day games of the postseason. So if you were going to put news out there, it had to be on a travel day where there's no games being played. Understandable. You don't want news to outbreak that. One of the things that came out earlier, the Cardinals hired released Mike Schilt. But there was a lot of talk. I don't know where you guys are at. I know they re-signed Aaron Boone during the postseason to the Yankees. But there was already a couple releases or contract negotiations. Not a lot of trading, and not a lot of coaching staffing. And one news that really, we talk about the race to winning the offseason, which is the first step of the next season. So if you win the offseasons by the trades, by the advances, then you would, go on to win the offseason, looking very solid heading into spring training. The Padres made the first, I believe, real impact to the offseason, and that came the day before Game 6. It came last Monday, or 2 Mondays ago. Apologize. Where the Padres signed Bob Melvin. Now, throughout chats, and I was listening to a lot of the stations and San Diego stations, I never even thought of this name. We're talking about guys like Bruce Bochy or Mark Kotze or Will Venable or Phil Nevin or Skip Schumacher, even that sorts, or Dusty Baker or Juan Washington. At no point I even thought of Bob Melvin, a consideration of Bob Melvin joining the Padres. And I thought to myself, and I've had to sleep on this for a little bit, but the Padres made a big deal. And this was an epic deal because in the last 7 years, the Padres have not had any realistic managers running the organization. We're going young and dumb and inexperienced. And no disrespect. And I mean this with the full greatest because I just heard that Jace Tingler signed as the bench coach to the Minnesota Twins yesterday. And I really wish Jace Tingler the best of luck in his endeavors in succeeding with the Twins. It's going to be much fun over there. But for me, I'm not, this was a huge deal. Now, this was not disclosed. Apparently, they were talking for a couple of weeks and they just disclosed this out of nowhere. Oakland's trying to unwind their team, the possible move to Vegas in a couple years. And this is a huge step because, no offense to the Jace Tingler, Andy Green, no one knew where they came from. And I think, like I said, this comes back to the beginning of the program, sourcing my credits here. Coach John Quintero says was been preaching about this all month long. He doesn't, and I don't want to coach that. You got to look up on Wikipedia. And that's true. I mean, you had to look them up and see their background. When you sign a guy like Bob Melvin to the franchise, you know his success out of Arizona, out of Seattle, out of Oakland. You know that over the last, especially in the last decade, he's taken the A's to many playoff runs. Now, yeah, let's grant it, he hasn't taken them to a World Series. But for the budget that Oakland has, for the to the Moneyball status that the A's have been playing, Yeah, they only could pick. They have such a limited budget, and they make it work. Can't Ball Melvin come over to San Diego and do the same thing with talent and a budget plan? I mean, I was just listening to this. The budget for the Padres, $200 million, nearly over $200 million. But then the Padres also received Ruben Niebla the week prior. Now, like I said, I mean, I haven't heard of this guy much. I know Cleveland natives. I know Mike Clevenger and a couple of players have nothing but high spokes of him. But the Padres right there made a huge, huge deal, which puts them in a huge lead, and I mean tremendous lead in winning the off season. We talk about the Padres, and they're gonna still have to make. They're still going to have to make a lot more trades. They have a lot more questions to answer. Answers such as the bullpen. Can they afford to go out and get a couple of bullpen guys? Can they afford to get out at least maybe one or two starting pitchers to kind of help that rotation out? Because the Padres never addressed that fifth man rotation. Also, you kind of think of it, okay, well, Tommy Pham's not coming back. I know Jerks. I mean, it's a dumbfounded deal not to accept, Jerks and Profar, who is getting paid $7 million to be a guy, playing from the bench. But I mean, you think about the contracts. You got an impactful infield. So one of them has to go. I mean, you're paying so much money for Ha-Sung Kim and Adam Frazier and Jake Cronenworth, and I believe Jake Cronenworth will be back. And then that's the other question. Can you deal Eric Hosmer? You're going to have to eat up that long contract. So there's a lot of questions going on just in the infield. Also, you think about moving forward to the outfield perspective. Tommy Pham is now a free agent. It doesn't look like he's coming back to the organization. Are they fed up? Are they done with Trent Grissom? Will Myers has one more year left on his contract. I mean, Profar is not an everyday outfielder. He's not going to go play every single day, but there's going to be a lot of things that the Padres have got to answer, but here's the right way. You hire your coach, you hire a pitching coach to help the pitching, which I think that's one of the biggest struggles that they had last year was, working themselves into games. And then you have to start, you go into the WIDA meetings you have the GM meetings all week, and you try to figure out a couple key components. And some of the guys in the free agent market look great. Another team that really looks to be starting to make some impact as well. Dusty Baker comes back to 1 year to manage the Astros. Astros already offered Carlos Correa 5 years, $106 million. Will he commit? I don't know. Obviously with Freddie Freeman helping the Braves win the World Series, I don't think he's going anywhere. It would be utterly insane. I mean, but there's a lot of great free agencies out there on the market. And then, let's start, talk about this. I mean, okay, so Buster Posey retires, and we haven't talked about a whole lot on this show. And we won't. But we pay respects to Buster Posey, a Hall of Famer in my books. Definitely giving the Padres some really tough, at bats. Playing against him, dangerous person to throw out on stealing. So you kind of get a relief off your shoulders if you're the Padres. But there's some interesting things going out of the way. L.A. Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw was not given an arbitration agreement. I don't know if they're going to be working out another deal with him down the road. But I mean, this is going to be an off season to tell. And on top of that, you got to think about, with all the free agencies out there or soon to be out there, let's look at the CBA agreement. Like I said, December 2nd is the expiration date. If the MLB organizations and owners can't come to an agreement on the CBA collective bargaining agreement, then they're looking to shut down. And I mean, I don't think this is going to be a big impactful deal, but you think about December wise, no free agencies, all that gets put on hold. And then if this locks out in any anytime past February, you look at the possible delay of spring training, if not the regular season. Now, obviously, dealing with the pandemic, I don't think they want that, and I really don't think that the stoppage is going to have to do with anything that expires on the field. We talked about a little bit during the World Series. Could this be the last time that that baseball has the pitchers hitting? And you know what? Honestly, as much as I don't like it because there's a strategy to it, yeah, I think that the universal DH is going to come in place. That's going to be another strategy that 15 other teams. And you think about it, it's like, okay, well, how can we create more jobs? Well, you just got done creating 15 more spots open up on that 15 more spots open up on the organization with the NL having the free agency. So I mean, I don't think the field of play is going to happen. The 3-man batter, that's fine. The pitch clock, I think we can agree on the pace of the game, trying to increase on that. So I'm not really worried about what stuff happens on the field. Your main focus and the reason why this stoppage is going to happen is because it's all the luxury tax, the taxes, the salary caps, all that stuff in the financial pursuit of things that the owners and the managers and front office deal with. That is where your focus on when it comes down to the stoppage, and that's where it's going to stop. Now, will they come to an agreement? Yeah, at some point. I don't think baseball is going to have an effect. I really don't think that they're going to have a delay to the game, or to next year's season. But at the same time, it is something to be concerned about if you are a baseball fan. I know, listen, American pastime sport here. I'm a huge baseball fan. But if you look at, I think the main concern is if you look at I think it's going to hurt a lot of free agencies. I think it's going to I think over the next month, there's going to be a handful of guys rushing to sign. Okay. And it's like, okay, so you sign now. If you are shut down for December and January, and then you got to reopen back up, the people are going to rush to sign also. And then it's also, I believe, it's going to devalue a lot of these free agencies. So, in my opinion, CBA will, the MLB will expire. The CBA will expire December 1st at midnight Eastern Standard Time, 11:59. They will have a stoppage, which at one moment there won't be no free agent talks, there won't be no collaborations. So basically, for a moment, there will be a question of if there will be a baseball season to be played. But look, I feel like they will get something together, and the season will happen at some point. I don't doubt that one bit. So listen, like I said, I want to kind of reach back out. The J&J Talk Show apologizes for any copyright formatting issues that has maybe acquired over the last week. We try to better our show, and we apologize to the WWE for that. We are still working on taking our breaks and incorporating all that stuff. As you saw today, it's kind of weird. We will find that. Like I said, we also in studio right now trying to work on the production and editing out those crucial things to repost those videos back on Sunday and Thursday. Okay, so stay tuned with that. It will probably be posted up later on this week. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and now Twitter at the J&J Talk Show. And don't be afraid. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Leave us a comment down below. We will be back on Thursday, where we have the NFL Week 10 preview coming to you. Look at the divisions. What's going on in the divisions? Who's making an impactful run? A couple other news, games, and highlights galore right here. With that being said, I'm Justin. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, you guys have yourself a wonderful day.